Welcome to the Matt Reiser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Now, live from Buddy's Bar and Grill in Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Well, our Southeastern Lions had a nice rebound over the weekend as Southeastern swept the Saturday doubleheader from Nicholls State to move to 14-7 in the Southland Conference and currently sit in second place with 9 conference games to play. This week is a little bit different as our Lions have no midweek games, and Southeastern will host Stephen F. Austin in a 3-game set at the Pat this weekend. The Lions put together offensively this past Saturday as our Lions put up 19 runs in 2 games, and hopefully this trend continues as Southeastern pushes towards a conference crown. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to the Matt Reiser Radio Show presented by North Oaks Health System, live from our home, Buddy's Bar and Grill, right here in Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight, whether on the Lions Radio Network or watching the archive with us on Facebook or YouTube. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock, and over the next hour, we'll get Coach Reiser's thoughts on this past week and look ahead to this week's slate of games. But first, let's take a break, and when we come back, I'll be joined by the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Matt Reiser. The Matt Reiser Radio Show is presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
This is not a rebuilding effort, like I said before. A championship without a degree is not good enough. I want to win now. Our players want to win now.
Be a part of the Frank Selfo era. Call 985-549-LION or visit www.lionsports.net.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom
and being engaged with service,
family, passion,
integrity,
overcoming adversity,
hard work and dedication,
bettering people around you,
striving for excellence,
leadership and competition
on our campuses
and in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
All right, welcome back to Buddy's Bar and Grill. I'm Alan Waddell. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Matt Reiser Radio Show. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock tonight, talking Lion baseball. Lions had 4 games this past week, went 2-2 on the week, but got 2 big ones on Saturday to take the series from Nicholls State. As at this time, we're going to welcome to the show the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Matt Reiser. Coach, thanks for being here. very nice job by your club on Saturday. Really kind of backs against the wall. Came out and dominated on Saturday and was able to take the series against Nicholls State and go 2-2 on the week.
Yeah, the week ended a lot better than it started. It's one of those deals. We talked about it, and we talked about it on last week's show. At some point in time, this thing's got to turn around, and that was kind of our conversation there on Friday night after the tough loss to Nicholls. I thought the Tuesday game, we'll get into some of these detailed game by game like we always do. But the Friday night game, was one of those that we took in the lead, and they're in the sixth inning. They come back, they smack us with a 5 spot after a drop pop up, one that just was really frustrating. And that conversation we had after Friday night's game was just, man, you got to look deeper in your soul. It's got to hurt more. It's got to mean more. It's got to really just tear you up inside with these losses, and eventually it's going to turn the corner. And it's funny how this works out. Every year it's the same deal with Nicholls. They come in obviously extremely energized, super excited about playing us. We're the quote-unquote rival, and it gets a little hairy sometimes when you get the rival in there. They start talking trash back and forth and start running their mouth a little bit, and I was really proud of our guys. I thought we responded extremely well to it. I thought we handled the situation extremely well and got that look back in our eye, that look of the fearless competitors, the guys who enjoy being in those moments, and I thought we responded extremely well there on Saturday and into the week on a good note.
Certainly did, and you just mentioned it. Nicholls is Southeastern's rival. I know that in some other sports, maybe it's some other teams as well. I know that in baseball, we've really kind of created a little bit of rival with Sam Houston, and you look in football, and McNeese is really kind of a rival in football, but Nicholls is traditionally Southeastern's rival. And if you look this calendar year, Southeastern really dominated Nicholls State in athletics. Beat them in football in the Riverville Classic, knocked them out twice in basketball for the conference championship. You took 2 out of 3 from them. Obviously, there's a chance that you could play again later on, right, maybe in the conference tournament. But it was a very good year for Southeastern athletics against the Nicholls State Colonels here in 2017-2018. So I know that a lot of people listening to the show tonight, and Larry Hemel sent me a text earlier.
I was just getting ready to bring
he sent me a text, Matt. I mean, it's a page long about all the different times we beat Nicholls this year, because his chest sticks out a little bit prouder when we beat the Colonels.
No doubt, he put that pressure on me from the get-go. On Monday, when we started talking about throwing out the first pitch on Saturday, he said, you can't lose those Colonels. You can't lose those Colonels. Almost sound like Billy Ladder talking about we can't lose to Tulane. We got to sweep Tulane every year. So, Mr. Larry, there's your shout out that we took care of business there on Saturday just for you.
I tell you what, you might want to sign Larry up, little southpaw. He fired that thing in there for the first pitch.
Still got it all the way there, and then might need to sign up his son too to catch.
No doubt about it. For those that maybe not know who we're talking about, and if you're a Southeastern fan, you should know Larry Hemel, a longtime SID at Southeastern. He's in the Louisiana Hall of Fame, Louisiana Athletics Hall of Fame, and he's certainly a Lion for life. He threw out the first pitch on Saturday as our Lions took on the Nicholls State Colonels. Matt, let's go back a little bit and talk about overall where you're at. You're 27-17, 14-7 in the conference, and we were just talking about it off the air a little bit, how much the expectations maybe have changed around here, and the fact that most programs, if you're sitting there at 27-17, 14-7 in the league, you're saying, man, we're having an awesome year. And I know, and we are having a good year, but I know that you had struggled a little bit here these last couple of weeks. It actually dropped 7 out of 8 games at one point, but history's on your side. You've always played well down the stretch, and you still have a ton to accomplish here in 2018.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think that's where, obviously that's where we brought the program to. I think the guys understand that. And, again, that's why we talked about it again last week in last week's show. The reason we recruited the guys, everybody can go when it's going well, man. That's how you go when it's going bad. And these guys, obviously, like you said, probably a lot of other programs in the country are satisfied or excited about where they're at. If they're 27-17 and second in the conference at 14-7. But our expectations are to be at the top. We want people chasing us. We don't want to chase anybody else because it's a pretty clear vision when you're going down that road and no dust in front of you. So our guys did a good job of obviously keeping in striking distance there of Sam Houston State, who had another good weekend. They took 2 out of 3 this weekend as well. And we talked about it. Just we got to play our best baseball here at the end. The at-large RPI stuff, right, is kind of out the window. I'll be real honest with you where we're at. We just lost too many bad games there earlier in the season, but that's fine. Doesn't mean the season's over. And the same conversation we had, we've got to continue to take another step forward, continue to play our best baseball, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like we got a club that's built to win a tournament. We got a club that's built to win a regional, a super regional. What was so disappointing about 2015 is the staff that we had that year when we didn't get in that was the staff we had to win a regional, a super regional. We had the depth in the pitching, and they had the frontline starters and the closers and so on and whatnot. This is a very eerie, similar staff to that. We have a staff, when you're talking about a 3-game weekend, Mason Canop and Cade Grenier or Corey Giacone is going to be coming out of the bullpen. Boy, you talk about a really stacked staff there. So if we can get things going right offensively and reflect and continue what we did there on Saturday against Nicholls with the 19 runs in 2 games, it's a scary club down the stretch for sure.
If you do the math, 27 and 17, that's 44 games. We have 12 big games remaining, 9 conference games. You have only one midweek game remaining, and that's the final week of the season when you play South Alabama, and then you'll take on Houston in that final weekend of the season for 2 games instead of a series because you're getting ready for the conference tournament. But, Matt, you got 9 games left in the conference, so a lot of damage can be done by your club. Talk about maybe some of the challenges now of not playing really in the midweek. For so long, you were playing so many games, 5 games a week, 4 games a week. And I know at one point, I'm not sure exactly where it is now, but I know at one point you had played the most games in the country.
Right.
So talk about the way the schedule breaks down where really you're just playing on the weekends from here on out.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I haven't been in the situation before. We've played 44 games, like you said. I was actually looking through some numbers today, and like Bradley had only played 29 games all year. It's just, the north has gotten kind of hammered with the snow and a lot of rainouts and snowouts up that way in that valley area and then up in the northeast as well. So, for us, I don't know if there's really any true challenges, because we're going to still do our sim games in the middle of the week. I think it's going to be very beneficial for us because some guys have been really wanting to get some live at bats, have been swinging the bat well in BP, who I really don't want to just kind of stick in the game. Hey, man, here's your shot. Go for it. Here's one shot. I want to get them to see some live pitching. Some guys that need to see some live hitters, just keeps everything fresh. Keeps all the arms fresh, all the legs fresh. And I think that's going to be the big part in this is physically we're going to be able to really hit the reset button. If you look at Drew Avens, and most people don't probably look at this, but if you look at his stolen base numbers, I think this is where you can really see this. His numbers of how many times he's gotten thrown out just in the last probably 3 weeks. He's been nursing that hamstring injury. Of course, you're not going to hold Drew back. Drew's going to go full speed, 110% every time he goes. Cody Gross, same idea. The bags have gotten a little bit less for him, and that's where you can see where this is just kind of taking a toll on their legs with the tweaked hammies and the tweaked quads and that kind of stuff. So to have a full week to not really put a lot of stress on the legs, but still get a lot of good quality work in to face the sim games and face the live at bats, I think it's going to be huge for our club to have them prepared and ready to go because I'll be honest with you, I don't think our hitters can face any better arms than what we're going to throw at them, in the sim games. We talk about it all the time. Our hitters should be ready to go because they face one of the best staffs in the country in fall ball. So whatever team we're playing, whether it's Southern Miss or Vanderbilt or LSU or whatever staff wants to run out there, we feel like we've faced a very similar staff and the guys we have. And flip side of that, vice versa. The guys are facing some good hitters, so and should be prepared for some pressure stuff that we also put on the defense as well. So I think it's a good thing for us. Like today, we had yesterday off with it being the doubleheader on Saturday. Gave him completely off. We got refreshed, but I didn't want to just jump right back into full practice mode today. All it was, hey, man, let's go out. Let's get some BP. I liked where we were at on Saturday. I want to keep some of that going a little bit, but very taxing, very, very little taxing on the arms, very little taxing on the legs today. Kind of a laid back, put the shorts on, put the T-shirt on day, and just get some hacks in.
All right, let's go ahead and get a break. When we come back, we'll get Matt to break down all 4 of the games from last week right here on the Matt Riser Radio Show presented by North Oak Health Systems and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
America's pastime. 12 players drafted in the Riser era. 2 Southland Conference championships. Back-to-back at-large regionals. Coming off a strong finish in 2017, another intense season is on the horizon, featuring a gauntlet of non-conference home games. New season, same goal. Don't miss out on any of the action.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back here to Buddy's Bar and Grill as we're just getting started here. As we've been on the air with you about 17 minutes, we'll be with you until 8 o'clock tonight talking Lion baseball. We have the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Matt Reiser here. Lions are 27-17 overall, 14-7 in the Southland Conference, currently sitting in second place. Have a big series this weekend coming up as Stephen F. Austin comes to Hammond for a 3-game set. As we're going to break down last week, as Lions had one midweek game and had a weekend series against Nicholls State. And Matt will first of all start by talking about the game that took place on Tuesday night. And, you know, you played a very strong schedule this year. You played a strong schedule. You've been here. And just for me, you know, Southern Miss, they have a very good ball club this year. And offensively, they certainly cause some problems what they do at the plate.
Yeah, you know, a bunch that's been historically known for swinging the bats. We talked about it in last week's show about how their offense is what makes them go, you know, and game planning going in. I liked Mason Knopp's matchup, to be honest with you. I thought he was a good matchup because he'd be able to command the fastball. You know, with a good hitting team like that, you got to be able to command the inner half. And through his first 2 innings, man, he was really good, you know, and he got in that 3rd inning. They got one in there, and then obviously they split a gap with a double. So second, third, nobody out. I thought the big story in this one was fielding our position. You know, they go down as hits, but it's one of those that, you know, we work on a lot. And the comebacker there between first and the pitcher gets kind of hairy a little bit. Mason fields the ball, goes to tag, turns around, then tries to beat him in the bag. Guy beats him there. So now it's bases loaded and one, nobody out. So we don't even get an out on the play. And it's an offense, man. When you do that, they're going to thrive. Now they're all chomping at the bits to get at the plate, and the pressure's coming. They did a good job. They get the base knocked, score a few runs. The big Walner kid who's going to be a first-rounder next year. Again, Mason did a really good job. First pitch, he goes in and gets in there where we need to be. Next pitch, he tries to repeat that pitch and leaves it just out over the plate. And Warner's a good hitter, man. He hit on top of the parking garage. So they make the statement there early in the 3rd. You know, what I was excited to see, or I guess maybe the positive part of this, if there is any, in the 12-4 loss, every time they scored, we scored. We continued to respond to it all up until the last inning or 8th inning, whenever it was. But the problem was they were putting up quicker numbers. We put up single digits. And that's part of trying to get that offense going a little bit. You know, we were in a position, obviously, once they scored 6 runs, where we've been at offensively. I don't know how confident our guys were coming back and scoring that many runs. But, hey, man, we got a lot of games. We score. Okay, well, hey, maybe, Coach, we do get back in this. But what do? They count over 2 more. So, okay, hey, let's score again, Coach. We kind of started to count a little bit, got some things close. Had a situation there in the 7th inning where I felt like momentum was really coming back on our side. It's a 9-4 ball game. We got the 1st and 3rd play, and we just get a really bad read at third base. It's one of those that we've got to shut down when we get that type of read. And unfortunately, Cody was trying to be aggressive and got thrown out there at the plate. Kudos to their guy. Their guy, shortstop, made a really good play. I don't know how he still caught that ball and threw it on a line there to the plate, but he did throw us out there at the plate, got 2 outs, and now, you know, obviously they're out of the end with a 9-4 game instead of 1 out 1st and 3rd. So, you know, it's some of the good and some of the bad. It comes with a base run, and sometimes you're going to run yourselves out some situations when you don't run it right, and we didn't run it right, so it ended up biting us there in the behind. But they do a good job of finishing off there in the 8th inning because, again, we jumped over a PFP, a ball comebacker to the pitcher. He jumps over the baseball. That's the first time I've seen that in a long time. And the guys save it first. So then they do all the damage there with 2 outs and finish us off. So, again, probably the only silver lining really in this was offensively what had been struggling so bad. We saw some good things. We saw some better at bats.
Hit some balls hard.
We hit some balls well and saw some hits. So it gave us some confidence, obviously, going forward and moving into the weekend.
Matt, you just brought up a good point, and I know that the play you're talking about there with the 1st and 3rd there in the 7th inning, and I'll give you the opportunity to say this, you know, on the record, I guess, is for those people that say, hey, it's 9-4, what are we doing running at this point? I know that's your offense. I mean,
right.
Maybe break that down a little bit. I mean, how hard is it when you are trailing? Do you turn it off? Can you turn it off? What's the thought process there as far as your aggressiveness on the base passes when you're losing, especially or when you're trailing in a game by 5 or so?
You know, that's been I guess the story of our program for so many years. You know, I go back to U of H. You know, we played them years ago in that first regional 14. And we made some errors there early. We're down 7-0, right? And then in the bottom of the inning, first guy gets on first base. We try to steal second, get thrown out. And everybody's like, what are you doing? We're down 7-0. You're just giving them outs. Well, at the same time, I'm reminding our guys, hey, we're still going to play the game. We're going to still do what we do. We're still going to stay aggressive. We're not going to get us out of what our game plan's always been, which is to apply pressure on the defense just because the score is a little bit out of whack, and especially because it's early. You know, if it's the 8th inning, 9th inning, we're down by that many runs, maybe something different, but it's still a 7th inning. We got 3 innings. What we look at is 3 separate ball games. You got the first third, you got the middle third, you got the last 3 that you got to go win. So in this situation, they'd already scored 1 in the 7th. We're trying to win that 7th inning, get momentum back on our side, and we're going to continue to play that way. And so obviously if the play works out like it's supposed to, if our guy gets a good read at third base, that's where this all goes, I guess, maybe out of whack. If he gets the read he's supposed to, he's safe at the plate. Now we got another guy in scoring position. It's 9-5. And now that pressure's really up on that opposing dugout. Now the bullpen's going to be rocking and rolling because now they're looking at the guys that are coming up. You know, 9 times out of 10, that momentum builds their way. We're probably going to hit there, make it 9-6. And now all of a sudden, you know, the things start to stir in that other dugout a little bit more than opposed to, obviously, hey, we ran ourselves out of the inning. So, again, look, there's good and bad with this. There's going to be more good than bad. But we're going to run our offense and our style until probably the 9th inning until we're really down and really need to conserve those outs.
Matt, how good is that Southern Miss team? What do you think?
I tell you, man, it's a regional host team. It's another club. It's going to be there in Hattiesburg when the NCAA time comes around, and very well deserving. Extremely offensive. I don't know what their pitch is like on the weekend, but I'm going to tell you this: they can bang with probably anybody in the country except for Florida. I don't know if anybody can bang the way Florida does. I've watched them a few times on TV, but that's one of the best offenses, if not the best offense we've seen all year, and that's pretty impressive because we've seen some pretty good ones this year.
All right, let's jump to the weekend. Lions drop a tough one to Southern Miss. They're a very good ball club. At the time of the game was 13th in the country. So, you know, they have some very quality wins. And as Matt said, they're, you know, kind of hosting a regional down the barrel over there in Hattiesburg unless something goes haywire towards the end of the season. Matt, you welcome in Nicholls State for the weekend. And I want to start, before we even talk about the games, this was supposed to be a split series. And this was supposed to be your second split series of the year,
right? And
neither one of those happened. So you played Nicholls on Friday, and then you played a doubleheader on Saturday because the forecast looked like rain on Sunday. That didn't end up happening. It actually ended up being a very pretty day on Sunday, but you never know what the radar says. But for our fans that are maybe wondering, how will this work next year? Will UNO, will Nicholls, will they just get the full series next year since they lost home games here in 2018?
Yeah, so per conference rules, this technically was our home weekend, and that's the kind of the conversation we got in early in the season with UNO, and so we have the right to make the decision on what we actually want to do because this is an agreement. If we can't come to agreement, the 3 games per the conference rule have to be played at our place. And Coach Tibb was fantastic. You know, he coached me actually in junior college and coached under Jay and was here for a little while as well. So obviously our relationship is extremely close. And, you know, he was in agreement. Hey, man, just look at this. We got 2 inches forecasted in Thibodaux. We'll go ahead and do the doubleheader there at your place. And so I made him very well aware of, hey, for years to come, you know, we do a 2-year schedule. This is the 2nd year of the schedule with conference play. They actually come back to us next year. UNO we have to go to, but Nicholls actually going to come to us. So it's going to be 2 years from now. I told him we would return the trip there and do the full set there at their place.
So for next year, you'll do a split.
Do another split.
So in 2 years. So what is that, 2020?
2020, whatever the heck that is. Man. Look at that recruiting board, try to figure that, some of that
so
stuff
2020 – we'll turn and have a 3-game set down there.
And so next year for UNO, we'll actually go to UNO for all 3 games. And that's, you know, that's the biggest part of negotiating this because obviously they want the home gate. You know, they have it budgeted into their you know, budget, preliminary budget. So, you know, that's some of the stuff that, you know, obviously we travel well. I think if it was, you know, nothing against some other clubs in our conference, but if it was somebody else in our conference, they probably wouldn't be too worried about. But, you know, our fan support's so fantastic and so supportive. And obviously we have a really good following that obviously Nicholls was pretty upset about having to lose that home game, but they'll pick it up in 2 years.
Matt, let's talk about the first game on Friday night. You welcome Nicholls into town. And, you know, for a majority of this game, it kind of seemed like what was happening at Northwestern, you know, a week ago. It was like, hey, nobody can score. You know, it's just kind of a low-scoring deal. This was a 1-0 game all the way into the bottom of the 6th inning. You had quality starts on both sides. And I think for you, what has to be disappointing is you respond. You put up 3 runs. You make it 3-1 at home. You got some momentum going. and then they come out and put up 5 in the 7th inning. And I know it's always so important when you take a lead to go out there and have a shutdown inning, and that didn't happen on Friday. Talk about this game a little bit. Break it down for us.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to them a little bit. They came out, bang out a double off the wall to start the inning. So obviously, you see the resilience of that club and how much they were wanting that series and wanting that game. Obviously, the big story in this game is the pop-up. We bring in Biddy to close out the game. Josh Green had gave us a fantastic start. We bring Biddy in to do his deal. He's handled the moment extremely well all year long. And we get the pop up there to shortstop, and Drew just calls off and runs off a camped infielder, which we can't do there. We got to allow the shortstop to make the play, and you don't want to take anything away from Drew. Drew's trying to play hard and he's been our leader all year long. He's trying to take command and take charge of this club. So obviously he wanted to play as well, but just that moment was not the right moment to call off Bro. So when that ball falls in, they score the tying run there. And really just takes the win out of ourselves. Again, if it's not on the back end of this lost 6 out of 7, we probably handle it a little bit better. But it was one of those like, gosh, man, can we get anything to go our way right now? We don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. And that was a conversation a little bit there Friday night afterwards. Like, hey, man, as soon as you feel sorry for yourself, you can get you behind whoop. They're going to wear you out. And that's exactly what Nicholls did, man. They did a good job of splitting the gap, the next hitter, and scored a few more runs. And they kept pouring it on, man. Next guy comes up, gets another hit, another 2-out RBI. Here they come and just keep roaring at us. And, when we get our chance there in the bottom half of the inning, we have a strikeout with second and third and 2 out and 1 out. We had a lot of good pitches to hit. I went back and watched video. We were missing a ton of good pitches all night long. I thought the Ernstine guy made a lot of mistakes. And really, we had 4 hits in the game. All 4 hits were in a row. I didn't know if anybody really realized that, but so for really 9 innings of baseball, besides those 4 hitters, we got no hit again. So I just thought our bats were really poor, to be honest with you. And we kind of, when we had our moment to strike back, we didn't, and that's why the conversation was had after the ball game like it was on Friday night.
Well, Saturday was billed to be a big day at Southeastern Athletics. It was Super Lion Saturday. Started off with a softball win over there at North Oak Park, and then a football win in the spring game. I guess they're not going to lose. So it's a little inter-squad scrimmage there for football for the spring game, and then Coach Selfo was debuted there for football, and then your game would take place. Now, because of the weather, you moved it up to a doubleheader. You had the doubleheader there on Saturday. Before we get to the game, I do want to ask you, you did have an alumni reunion.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit before we get into the nuts and bolts about this game.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think this was a big part of the success we had on Saturday. Our guys understand the history of our program. They understand the generations that have come before them have laid the foundation for them to have, obviously, the amenities they do and the opportunities they do and play for such a national prevalent program. So it's one of those deals like, obviously there's been a lot of talk and, hey, man, you guys have been playing really bad. Y'all been struggling. It's probably one of the worst years y'all have had, blah, blah, blah. It was one of those deals where the alumni came out and they were – obviously, we were driven a little bit through Nicholls, but we were also driven that second game when the alumni came out and they started giving words of encouragement and saying, hey, man, you guys have got it. I'm telling you, I got a good feeling. Those guys want to make those alumni proud. They want to show them what real Lion baseball was, and really Friday night we didn't do that. We got out-competed. We got beat at our own game. They played faster than us, and that was so disappointing to see. They took that conversation to heart. They knew what was at stake as far as obviously with the rivalry. A lot of those guys had the same rivalry when they played here as well. And I thought it was really tremendous of that group to come out, be so supportive, because they've been through it. They know. Right. They're not your typical fan that comes in and kind of can waver back and forth when the good times or bad times. Some of those guys, all of those guys had the good times here, and all those guys had some bad times here, and they've been through the losing streak, so they know exactly how it feels. So just those words of encouragement, just seeing those guys out there being supportive of the program, I think it really encouraged those guys, especially that second game, to go out there and do what they did, and we scored 7 there to kick it off, and I think that was a big part of it.
All right, well, before we get to this game, let's go ahead and get to a commercial. When we come back, we're going to get Matt to break down these big wins on Saturday as the Lions swept the doubleheader from Nicholls State. Then we're going to look ahead and look at the opponent for this weekend as Stephen F. Austin comes to Hammond for a big Southland Conference series. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll get all of Matt's thoughts right here on the Matt Riser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
This is not a rebuilding effort, like I said before. A championship without a degree is not good enough. I want to win now. Our players want to win now.
Be a part of the Frank Selfo era. Call 985-549-LION or visit www.lionsports.net.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom.
And being engaged with service.
Family.
Passion.
Integrity.
Overcoming adversity.
Hard work and dedication.
Bettering people around you.
Striving for excellence.
Leadership and competition.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
All right, welcome back. Over halfway home here on the Matt Reiser Radio Show. Thank you so much wherever you may be joining us tonight on the Lion Sports Radio Network, or also if you're listening to us and haven't caught the entire show, you want to go back and listen to Matt, even go back and look at other shows. You can go on Facebook, on the Southeastern Louisiana University Athletics Facebook page, and also on YouTube. Mr. Colton Vickers is here videoing us tonight, and we will be up on the internet by the end of the night. Matt, let's talk about these two games quickly, as you knocked off Nicholls State in a sweep on Saturday. And, hey, let's just call it like it is. Going into Saturday after dropping Friday's game and after dropping 2 out of 3 against Northwestern State, if you were going to stay in the race, Saturday was pivotal. I mean, and your team responded, and you came out, you dominated in game 1, won it 10-3, and then came out and had an unbelievable first inning, put up a 7 spot in the first inning in game 2. So really took back control of this series there on Saturday.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier in some previous shows, it's this is one where we talk about every single weekend is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and at some point in time you'll be fighting for your life. And so obviously, yeah, backs against the wall there on Saturday. We've already played 3 doubleheaders, and really, you know, we pride ourselves on the doubleheaders. You know, maybe it's my old JUCO days playing for Jay at the river. You know, the JUCO Saturdays we used to have, but we were always pride ourselves on sweeping the doubleheaders. When you look at the year, we won 42 and had 25 wins in the conference. There was 8 weekends we played doubleheaders, and we were 8 sweeps that year. So this is something that, you know, obviously we had the early doubleheader with UConn. To my knowledge, it's the first doubleheader we had been swept in a long time. I know since I had been a head coach. We had split these other 2 doubleheaders, one with Northwestern and one with UNO. We had a chance to sweep, you know, obviously the series there with UNO. So obviously there's a challenge in front of us. Hey, man, your back's against the wall. You haven't had a whole lot of success in doubleheaders so far this year, which is traditionally not our style. And, you know, we normally have a lot of success in doubleheaders. And so let's see what you're made of, man. It's kind of going to be really honest with you, just now or never. And we did a good job, you know, early. We came out and just kind of stayed resilient with our offense approach. We put up a few there in the middle innings and had some other opportunities that they did a good job of making some good defensive plays, hit some balls right at them. And then obviously, you know, Carlisle, to be honest, Carlisle did not have his stuff there on Saturday, but what he gave us was tremendous. He gave us exactly what we needed to obviously get through his outing. We had a pretty fresh and full bullpen. Went to the freshman again there, and Trey Schaefer. Boy, is that young man going to have a bright future for us. Does a fantastic job of filling up the zone there for a couple innings, and then just kind of had one of those moments, freshman moments again, where he threw 8 balls in a row and walked a couple guys. So we had to go to the bullpen there. We go to Bryce Tasin, and Tasin does a fantastic job of finishing off that first game. We throw the knockout punch there late. I think that was a big part of this as well. They did a really good job of scoring in that 7th and that 8th inning there, and really just kind of carried that momentum and that attitude and that arrogance about ourselves to the second game. And it goes back to, I think, we had a situation happen. Schwarn gets hit by a pitch, and there was some words exchanged. I think a lot of our fans saw that happen a little bit. We had to make sure everything got calmed back down. They can get – there's a lot of testosterone in 18 to 22-year-old young men sometimes, and so we got everything calmed back down, but responded well. Instead of running our mouths, we just did it with our actions and our bats and our play, and that was exciting to see. It was exciting to see that look back in our eyes that we rolled into Game 2.
Matt, I know you mentioned Carlisle maybe didn't have his best stuff on Saturday in Game 1, but, man, you've had some guys here at Southeastern since you've been the head coach that have put together some incredible, pitching seasons. You think back to Andre Chutora, you think about Tate Ciano, you think about, just some great guys, Max Soroller, who we had. I'm drawing a blank of the lefter who pitched on Sunday. Setitol, but the lefty that pitched on Sunday. Carlini had a great year, his senior year.
Jake Johnson.
But, man, we've had some great individual seasons, and Carlisle's putting together one of those. I mean, he's 7-1 right now, 2.31 ERA. And he was a guy that early in the year had some big wins in the midweek, got wins over UL Lafayette against LSU. He's rolled into that Saturday role and has been outstanding. His only blemish of the year against HBU earlier in this year, but he has really given your team a chance to win every time he's gone out. Talk about his performance a little bit so far this year.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, just a transformed young man, a guy who maybe wasn't quite ready last year to take the bulk of the weekend, but didn't complain about it. Was thrown in the fire and had a real learning experience last year going through it. And, a game like Saturday to where he had that stuff they did on Saturday, it didn't feel great. We could see it early. Normally that game ends up being where last year for him would have been a 2 1/3 inning and, 6 or 7 runs. We'd had to pull him out and go get him early. The competitive nature about himself, the ability to compose himself, the ability to just kind of compartmentalize some things and really mature there on the mound and learn how to pitch. He found a way to get us through 5 good innings of baseball to where we could obviously hand it over there to Schaefer. And now he's understanding of what it is. Hey, Coach, I don't have to go out there and throw a complete game shutout every time I go out. Exactly. If you go out there with that mindset every single time you go out, you're going to get yourself in trouble, because when you have struggles, you're going to be focused on what the 9th inning is instead. Maybe that struggle might be in the 1st. That struggle might be in the 2nd. Who knows when that struggle is going to be, but you're not going to be concentrated on the exact pitch in that exact moment and not give your best effort because you're distracted with thinking about other things outside of that particular pitch. He's done such a good job of maturing, man, and all the success he's having right now is very well deserved. Just super proud of what he's come into. And we talk about development of young men. We talk about development of players, and you talk about, hey, man, you lost Max Schroller. Who are you going to replace him with? Hey, man, you lost Tate Ciano. Who are you going to replace him with? Hey, man, you lost to James Fisher. Who are you going to replace him with? The guys are always in our program. We talk about that. Those guys mature and they develop and they learn and they understand and get a year better. And Carlisle Kessler certainly has done that for us this year.
And just to tell you the other impact he's had on your club this year, and he's 7-1 overall, but he's pitched in 12 games.
Yeah.
And in the 12 games he's pitched in, you're 11-1.
Yep.
So he also has a save earlier in the year against Tulane. So he's been outstanding and has really stepped up on the mound. And Josh Green as well, and some other guys are having some great years. But Carlisle just seems at this point he's kind of stealing the show, I guess, when you look at the numbers and what his records run out to at this point.
No doubt. And like you said, you kind of expect it out of Josh, because he's had a few good years for us, been in our program now. This is 4th year, where Carlisle had that year last year. It was over 5 ERA. Like, I don't.
Well, I think there was some times last year where some of the fans said, man, I don't know what they see in this guy.
Right.
I don't know what they see in this guy. They keep running him out there on Sunday. They run him out there in the midweek, and he had some struggles.
Yeah.
I can remember against Sam Houston in that Game 3 where he really struggled coming out the gate a year ago. But, man, he has been outstanding here in 2018. 7-1 and 11-1 in games that he has pitched so far as
Just
your
need to
club.
find a way to pitch him every game then.
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Matt, let's talk about quickly Game 3. I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but you win this one 9-2. It was over the first inning. I mean, you jumped out 7-0, made it 8-1 there in the second inning, and then you really put it on cruise control in this one. And Corey Giacone got the start on the mound.
Yep. Again, just a fantastic job of rolling over that momentum, and that was the look we were talking about, that killer instinct. Just you could see it in the guy's eyes. Between games, they weren't content with taking game one. Obviously, it was like, hey, man, we're out for blood. We're out to go finish this thing off, and we come out and set a tone from the get-go. Cody whacks one, or beats out an infield single, and then Paluti and Avens whack a couple, make the guy really gun-shy coming in the zone. We get a couple walks there. Cody Gross comes back around, gets a big 2-out knock down the line to make it 7-0. And really, to be honest with you, I thought we did a good job of keeping some plan and approach there. We kept hitting ball hard after ball hard after ball hard. That reliever came in there, Bollinger, just boy, he was living right. Even when he got pulled out, they bring the little lefty. The base is loaded. He's got guys all over the pond ready to get driven in and run up that ERA a little bit. The little lefty gets him out of it. Gets the double play ball and they get out of the situation. But we did a good job. The one time they did respond, we responded right back with one, and just the fact that you even scored and just didn't let any momentum go that direction was huge for us. And I thought we did a really good job defensively. Nathan Paluti's one that we haven't talked about a ton, but that young man played extremely well this weekend, especially in that doubleheader. If you look at the numbers and the stats, he was 2 for 11, I think, in the both games. But boy, he hit some balls really hard, had some really good at bats, did a really good job defensively, made a big play in that game too that just sticks out in my head that probably nobody even really saw. But guy hits one down the line, Paluti runs over there, gets to it, cuts it off like he's supposed to, gets the ball in, and keeps a big double play in order. So they're first and third, nobody out. Hey, we're going to get a little bit momentum going here in the 7th. This is our chance to make our run, maybe score 3 or 4 runs and make this interesting for the 8th and 9th inning. He keeps that guy off of second base. The next guy, big donkey lefty, comes up, rolls into double play, 2 outs. Yeah, you get one, but we've pretty much eliminated the inning and the threat. I just thought it was an outstanding job there by Paluti to do that part of it. So thought we had some guys play really well. Thought we swung the bat well, thought we pitched it well, and thought we played some really good defense there to finish off a really needed sweep there on Saturday.
Matt, and hopefully this trend continues, but 19 runs. You put up 19 runs in 2 games there. I know you like that.
I was getting bored at third base, I'm not going to lie to you.
No doubt. As the Lions take care of business and take care of Nicholls on Saturday, sweep the doubleheader, and move to 14-7 in the Southland Conference. You got Stephen F. Austin coming in here this weekend. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Pat there at Alumni Field as Stephen F. Austin and the Lumberjacks come in. And again, no midweek this week. So you're just in the conference play for a weekend series. Before you break down Stephen F. Austin, we'll do that after the break. Why don't you go ahead and give us the pitching rotation for this weekend, what you're going to go with, considering you only have three games this week.
Yeah, we're going to go Latham on Friday, Mamu on Saturday, and Riser on Sunday. So, yeah, we'll go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, obviously Josh Green will go again Friday. Carlisle Kess will keep them in their routine. Both those guys will be coming back off. We're going to see what Sunday kind of presents. We're going to break down Stephen F. a little bit more. Corey Giacone would have an extra day to rest if we do want to bring him back. That's where we went Corey last week with Nicholls. They had so many left-handers in the lineup that it really felt Corey was a better matchup. This is the advantage we're going to have, that we're going to be really be upper hand on some clubs. Where we kind of play matchup. We can play weather. Corey's more of a ground ball guy, where maybe Knopp's more of a fly ball guy.
So if the wind's blowing out, you want to throw Giacone.
Yeah, we want to throw Giacone if the wind's blowing out. Wind blowing in, let's get Knopp in there and let him pop up. And then obviously Grenier, matched up with the right-handers a little bit better than what Giacone does with the left-handers. So these kind of mix and match. We'll still TBA on Sunday, see how some guys feel. Throw some sim games tomorrow. We do want to get Grenier back on the bump because we actually warmed him up to get him in the game this weekend. And obviously it wasn't, so he'll throw a little bit tomorrow just to see where he's at. And we'll kind of make the decision later in the week on what we're going to do Sunday.
Matt, has there been any thought to Cade going to the back end of the bullpen? I know he had so much success there a couple of years ago. Any thought of that? And now that you're down with these?
Well, yeah, definitely. Because we used him out of the bullpen at McNeese with that situation we were in, and same thing for Knopp, same thing for Giacone. We brought Giacone in out of the bullpen for the one inning I think on Tuesday there with Southern Miss, and just to get some of those guys used to doing that, because we are going to use when we go down the stretch of these 3-game weeks. we're not going to use Canop and Jaconi or Grande. Hey, man, you didn't start, so you're not going to throw this week. We want to use those guys out of the bullpen, obviously, because they're extremely valuable to us, not only from a standpoint of being able to come out and throw strikes, but, hey, man, here's the ball in the 6th inning, go finish it off. Yeah, that was your split start, so to speak. So when you have that 5-man rotation, a true 5-man rotation, you're not just kind of plugging in a swing man. When you have a true 5-man rotation, you got those two options in your bullpen now. You can short some games pretty easily there. So and keep some guys fresh at the same time. Again, we want to be our best at the very end. If we can get extended some leads and that kind of stuff, maybe the guy comes in, finishes it off. Hey, man, here's the 3 or 4 inning save, and we can rock and roll and keep some guys fresh for the back end of the year.
All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Stephen F. Austin and give you the Southland Conference standings, and we'll wrap it up right on the Matt Riser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
America's pastime. 12 players drafted in the Riser era. 2 Southland Conference championships. Back-to-back at-large regionals. Coming off a strong finish in 2017, another intense season is on the horizon, featuring a gauntlet of non-conference home games. New season, same goal. Don't miss out on any of the action.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools, for nearly 500,000 student athletes, college sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back to the Matt Riser Radio Show. We have about 10 minutes to go here left on our program. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, wherever you may be. If you're just picking us up and you missed us for the last 50 minutes or so, you can go back and watch the archive version on Facebook, on the Southeastern Louisiana University Athletics Facebook page, or also on YouTube, as all of our archived episodes are there. Matt, quickly, let's talk about this weekend. You got Stephen F. Austin coming to town for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Stephen F. Austin's a team that, if you look at their record, it's not that good, but they, a couple of weeks ago, really probably should have taken 2 out of 3 from Sam Houston. They beat them one time. I know that's a rivalry series, but right now they're 6-12 in the conference. Talk about this team and what challenges they bring to the table as they come in here this weekend.
Yeah, a club that really struggled early. They had some returners offensively that were not playing very well, and they've kind of picked it up here in the last few weeks. Like you said, they played a lot better last couple weekends against Sam Houston and Corpus Christi. They ended up losing both those series, but the one against Corpus, I know they could have easily taken 2 out of 3 along with Sam. They actually could have swept Sam. But it's one of those deals, man. You got to play every weekend, and and obviously come ready to the park, ready to play, because you can see how quickly things can turn for you. So offensively, I know they got a few guys back that'll be able to swing a little bit. Pitching wise, some similar guys or some returners will be there, and they've got some similar guys that they picked up that are kind of what they've had in the past, So again, I think this is going to be a weekend. We need to set a tone Friday night. I mean, we need to be excited about coming out. Obviously, we should be rejuvenated, should be energized Friday night with a club that we should be able to do some damage with and just play faster. That's been kind of our MO with Stephen F. Even last year when they were feeling good about themselves, I think they were coming off a win at TCU. They were sitting really pretty in conference play. Sitting like number 3 or number 2 in the conference at the time we played them. We went in there and just absolutely wore out their behind for 3 games. We offensively we continued to pound away at their arms. We continued to run up the score as far as we were running around the bases, and then they couldn't slow us down, and they kept making mistakes, and we kept forcing mistakes and put a lot of pressure on them. So this will be one that we need to do the same thing. This is a club that's feeling better about what they're doing, especially offensively. It's not a series we need to let them come in and start feeling good about themselves, because obviously they can pop you. They popped Sam Houston once, and like I said, should have probably taken that series. They had a rough one on Friday night there where I think they actually gave a 4 or 5 spot in the 9th inning to end up losing that ball game. So and again, the exciting thing about this is we've got a fresh pen, so should be another good weekend to send off the seniors. And we have senior day there on the Sunday.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is. We decided to do this because obviously that last home series of the year is Thursday, Friday. There is no Saturday game. I don't want the parents trying to rush in on a Thursday night. You hate doing it the last game of the year, home game of the year, because of rain. That happened to us a few years ago. So senior day will be on Sunday to kind of send off the guys from the Pat, the guys that have spent so much time and helping build this program. So should be a very exciting weekend, very emotional weekend, and a very eventful weekend.
No doubt about it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 o'clock first pitch on Friday night. Saturday, 2 o'clock first pitch. And then Sunday, again, you heard Matt say it, it's going to be senior day on Sunday, so 1 o'clock first pitch at the Pat as Stephen F. Austin comes to town. Let's quickly touch on the Southland Conference standings and see where we stack up right at the moment. Currently, Sam Houston State is 15-3. They're in first place here, a couple of games out at 14-7. We have played an extra conference weekend than them. That's why, if you do the math there, we've played 3 more games than those guys. And McNeese is 14-7 right there, tied with us as record, but we have the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. But a big week this week as Sam Houston travels to Lake Charles to take on McNeese. So we're hoping that the Cowboys can maybe knock them down a few times. But, again, we have Sam Houston head-to-head in a few weeks over there in Huntsville, Texas. But still, a lot of parity in this league. Houston Baptist is 12-6. Central Arkansas is 11-7. Incarnate Word is 10-8. Northwestern sitting there at 9-9. So there's a lot of competition for those top 8 seeds in the Southland Conference tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be one heck of a battle, man, as it is every year there at the very bitter end. And, again, we just got to continue to take care of business. I don't score watch a ton, to be honest with you. Obviously, we'll check scores and that kind of stuff. But, again, if we're worried about what others are doing and not taking care of our own business, it doesn't matter what they do because we won't be there at the end. So just got to do a good job looking forward, taking care of business the way we're supposed to this weekend to set up a nice showdown next week against Sam Houston State. And like you said, they're sitting at 15-3, but they got McNeese this weekend at McNeese. We're at their place next weekend. So their next 6 will be pretty tough as well.
Certainly is, as the Lions have a big conference weekend this weekend. As Stephen F. Austin, 3-game set. Once again, no midweek. So 3 games only this week, but they're all at the Pat. And if you're counting, we have 6 home games remaining. So we have the 3 this week, 3 this week, and then we have 2 weeks on the road at Sam Houston and at Central Arkansas. Then we'll return for a midweek against South Alabama, and then finish up with Houston at home on a Thursday, Friday on the 17th and 18th. So actually on May 15th, May 17th, and May 18th will be your last 3 home games. But this is the last series. Friday, Saturday, Sunday series will be this weekend at the Pat. Matt, we have a few minutes left to go here on our program. We'll be with you for about another 5 minutes or so. But anything else you want to touch on here tonight before we say goodbye? I know that you had a nice rebound this past weekend. Take a 2 out of 3 from Nicholls.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of end the segment here. I got in this business of coaching because of the coaches I had. They did more things for me than you would ever imagine. I'll see Jay, playing for him in junior college, and I'll see coaching under him. But Coach Jones there at Tulane, Coach Kirkland back in high school, man, my little league coaches, it's really the reason why I got into this business, and the people that know me, the players that played in our program know how much I care for them as individuals as well, not just as players. And so I'm going to take this time real quick to give a shout out to some guys who aren't in our program but are local players. Chet Niehaus and Nathan Tribble are two good players. Both of them are local from Hammond. Chet Niehaus has turned himself into a tremendous player there at Nicholls. He's hitting their 3-hole, having a fantastic year. And some of this recruiting stuff, man, is based off of needs. And sometimes you have a need, sometimes you don't. But hats off to those two young men. They're having Chet, especially offseason, is senior, but Tribble's a freshman there. But Chet's had a fantastic career in college baseball, and just to see that young man succeed at what he's doing and having so much success, we want to see that, because he's the right young man and the right player to go out and work as hard as he has. He's had a lot of people tell him he wasn't good enough, same way a lot of people told me I wasn't good enough, but he's turned himself into a very nice player. And then Nathan Tribble's got a extremely bright future ahead of him there at Nicholls as well.
Matt, I certainly think that says a lot about you, to be able to sit there and say that about some kids that are local products that are playing on another university. So hats off to you for those comments right there. As Lions right now 27-17. Overall, 14-7 in the Southland Conference. 9 big conference games remaining. The last 3 conference games, though, at home is this weekend. Stephen F. Austin comes to town Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6 o'clock first pitch on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. The game on Friday will be streamed on the Southland Conference Digital Network, so you can watch it on your smartphone, you can watch it on your computer if you can't make it out to the ballpark, and the Southeastern channel at Southeastern Louisiana University, they will actually be producing this. They do a really good job, so if you can't make it to the ballpark on Friday, you can watch the stream produced by a lot of our students right here at Southeastern, and it'll be on the Southeastern channel and on the Southland Conference Digital Network. As we're just about out of time here tonight, the Lions had a nice rebound this weekend. They took 2 out of 3 from Nicholls State. And Matt, hopefully those 19 runs you put on Saturday is going to push you here as you have 9 big conference games left.
Yeah, no doubt. I think our offense is doing a much better job of understanding that you're not guaranteed any hits in a game. You've seen a ton of no-hitters thrown this year, but you're guaranteed outs. I don't think you've seen any 9-inning ball game this year where there hasn't been an out made. Eventually you're going to make some outs no matter how many runs you score. So they're getting a better understanding of how to make those outs more productive, how to make those outs a little bit more aggressive, and just do a better job of having an approach there at the plate. So if we continue to do that 19-run production will definitely go up and will be a mainstay for us, because we have the talent. We have the ability to do it. We've got the right young men to do it. And just, again, to end this week, another exciting week to come ahead, and just can't wait to get back out there on Friday and see what our guys handle moving forward in the future. Our fans have been outstanding in 2018, as previous years as well. We got 12 big games left, so stay with us as you follow your Lions through the rest of the regular season and the postseason. That's going to do it for us. We're completely out of time. For Coach Matt Riser, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time on the Matt Riser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
You've been listening to the Matt Riser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. The Matt Riser Radio Show is a product of Lion Sport Properties. More information on how you can support future broadcasts is available through Lion Sport Properties at area code 985-549-2570.